Hi everyone, this is Arcadius and welcome back to Naval Creed. Today we'll be going over the newest prism ship, and that is the German battleship Helgoland. But we're also going to show off a video with the new H42 in terms that she only can equip the 420mm guns. So we're going to show you both big changes. Before that, my cough is acting up again, even though I specifically put aside today for videoing. So if I pause it on and off, that is why. So I do apologize in advance. I will try not to include that in the game too much. Alright, so before we do the game in H42, let's just talk about Helgoland here a little bit. That is what I've renamed it to. Its original name is Berlichingen, I think. Either way, I changed it to Helgoland because that's just a lot easier for me. So we have 102,000 health at a 9.6 matchmaking, so she's in tier 9 and tier 10 games. 30% torpedo damage resistance. Armor is actually pretty interesting. So we have a maximum of 400mm, or about 16 inches, and then a belt of 360, which is only about 14. And you can actually citadel this battleship relatively easily, especially with the hull cheeks here. I've been able to do it quite often, which is not something you can usually associate with a German battleship. So the armor is actually not that great. It'll still work plenty, but there are some hidden gaps in it. Let's see here. Turning circle radius is atrocious. You can see everything else here. You're a big battleship that's going to be easy to see, easy to hit, and your armor will work, but maybe not as good as you might expect from other German battleships. Guns. This is now the only German battleship that can equip 480mm guns or 19-inch guns, mainly because the ones that H42 could equip are removed specifically for this ship. I kind of don't like what they did here. Pretty much, if you want to keep the same guns or similar guns that H42 have or had, you literally have to buy a brand new ship, which is actually a lot worse than H42. So yeah, not really a fan of that. They could have just left the 19s there. But instead, they decided to remove them and put them on a ship that's a lot worse. Alright, so guns, 2 rounds a minute. You can see all the stats here. Pretty much big, slow guns that hit hard. Nothing too out of whack. Range is 25-1. Secondary range is only 5.5 kilometers, which is actual garbage. I think max secondary range is either 7 or 7.5. You do have quite a few secondaries, as you can see here. But honestly, a lot of them just shattered because the ranges you have to get to actually have them shoot and hit targets, they're just hitting the broadside belt armor, and very few actually hit the superstructure. They do set the occasional fire, which is nice, but they're actually kind of worthless. So definitely don't recommend a full secondary build. I have mine for turret rotation and reload, considering these are big guns. All right, let's see what else we got. Speed is 29 knots, so even H42 is faster. I think she has like 33 or 34 knots. We get a few fighters. Nothing really spectacular about that. AA, it's there, but again, nothing that exciting. And consumables, we can get a heal and a repair, but not even a hydro. So when compared to H42, you have slower reloading guns. You have more secondaries, but they're smaller caliber considering H42 gets those 8-inch secondaries, and they don't even shoot as far. Your speed is slower, you don't get hydro, and yeah, I mean, I really don't see the point of this ship. We didn't really need another German battleship in this game. I can guarantee you there's plenty already. And I actually hope to not see another one. Hopefully this will be the last one. But we shall see. Besides that, I'm not really too impressed with her. It is nice to see the Germans have a high-tier prism ship, though. As of right now, we have Scharnhorst, which is technically a cruiser, but I still think of it as a battleship. We have Tirpitz, which is a tier 8. And then we have, well, the Space Camel Bismarck, but you can't really buy that. You have to earn it. And then we have this one at 9.6. But honestly, Tirpitz might have better games and definitely has better armor. So first we're going to take a spin out in H42 to show her or show off the new guns here. There's nothing else different besides that as far as I'm aware. She's still a great ship. I did love those 19-inch guns though. They were really effective at dealing just massive amounts of damage, especially in events too. So this will be a big nerf for any event that H42 will shine out in. So let's toss ourselves in the game and see how we can do. Alright, let's see what kind of game we have. 1 carrier, 4 battleships, 5 cruisers, and a destroyer. Not terrible. Nothing too terrifying either. Actually, is that another player? Oh, we do have another player. Nice. Hanover. So that is the sister ship of H39, the one before H42. So let's see what kind of damage we can do. The best way for a German battleship is just to go right into the brawl, get into the secondary range, because that's going to do a lot of your damage. So first we're going to make our way to the middle of the map here and see what targets present themselves. Now, a main drawback of battleships, or German battleships that is their anti-aircraft defense. So if we get eyes on that carrier, that's definitely a priority. And we're just starting to move over here. There's that Hanover. Not quite sure where he's looking at, but it's definitely not in front of him. So what kind of cruisers do we have? Ibuki, Lenevsky, Minotaur, Takao, Alaska. Nothing too exciting. Honestly, there's really nothing here that's a threat other than the other H42 and the Midway. Besides that, we're pretty okay. Let's pop some planes in the air. I don't really need them, but they might help in spotting some of these ships. So we already have Anilevsky. Another important thing is now that we no longer have 19-inch guns, we only have 16.5s, our overmatch potential is decreased as well. So let's send some shells out here. I mean, she still hits really hard, as you can clearly see. But you don't get the satisfying slap of the 19s. Let's pop some hydro, because we can see that destroyer. There's also a Minotaur about, so torpedoes could be around. Yeah, I mean, you're still going to do massive amounts of damage, but it's just really not the same. Secondaries here on this ship, though, are perfectly able to deal damage, even at longer ranges. As we almost completely obliterate that Ibuki, that should finish her off. There she goes. Right, we also have an Alaska over here. And the Midway is off our bow here, so we're going to be in a good position to deal with her. Wow, the Citadels just keep coming. I do enjoy it, though. I really wish you could focus secondaries on targets outside of your secondary range, so like when you buff them and they have better range, I wish you could select them out at those greater ranges, but you cannot, unfortunately. Oh, Midway is shooting us. And there goes Minotaur. So we are actually going to start focusing on Midway over here. Unless one of these has a good broadside. Missouri does. We can give her a little bit of love before we turn for the carrier. Not enough lead, but we still did a good chunk of damage here. H39 actually does have torpedoes. I think they're 6 km range, so heading away from her is a good idea. I think we'll be safe from them for right now. Hi, Midway. It looks like we already set you on fire with our secondaries. that's a good start. And immediately a double citadel. Nice. Yeah, see, this battleship can just tank pretty much anything that's tossed at it. So if you want something that can soak up shells and keep fighting, definitely go for H42 and ignore Helgoland. There you go, carrier down. Anything else is not really going to be nearly as good. France is a close second in terms of being able to tank shells, but even then, she can still be citadel. And this handover is kind of getting annoying, so we're going to angle our bow towards those other ships to the right and try and finish off this handover. Let's pop another heal. We're not even half health yet. It's just how strong this ship is. I do have a bunch of health buffs and speed buffs though, so this isn't the normal ship. All right, let's try and get those cheeky bow hits. Ooh, 4 ricochets and misses. Oh well. Secondary should finish her off anyways. There's the other H42. There we go. Awesome. Let's see, Missouri is giving us a pretty good broadside. Though Tsushima over here is going to give us a nice shot as well. Let's see what we can do. Missouri, almost 16k. That'll be nice. All right, we're going to try and get our entire broadside on the Sushi here and try and one-shot her, because that is one of the best feelings ever. Goodbye. Cool. All right. Now we have a Missouri. And these are the last 2 ships, so I don't even need to use a hydro or anything because we can easily see them. You know, might as well, just in case we lose sight on that H42, but I highly doubt it. Heal is up and ready. And secondaries, actually those torpedoes are going to finish off. Oh, our secondaries finish them off. So we are completely fine, and we just gotta meander around this island as the enemy H42 does everything in its possible power to keep the island between the 2 of us. That's fine. And yeah, so H42, unstoppable juggernaut that can just deal so much damage, it's not even funny. The only thing that can really handle it is a France, another H42, or any kind of carrier. But even then, she has so much health that she can just soak it up and keep dishing it out. You really need to focus down these ships if you come across them, because if you just ignore them or even get close and range of them, they're just going to mess you up. Also, I just realized our teammate is pretty much doing nothing down at our base, so I don't expect him to have much damage here. But there we go, last kill. Let's see how we did with the new H42. She doesn't feel the same. She feels more like an H41, the Rhineland for me. Yeah, she feels a little bit less powerful, but she still can pack a punch. See how we did. 525,000 damage, 7 ships sunk, 74 shell hits, 14 aircraft shot down, 21 citadels, 7 fires, 409 secondary hits. We did 403,000 damage in main shells alone, 65,000 in fires, and 56,000 in secondaries. So right off the bat, you can see H42, really, really strong ship. Now Helgoland, with even bigger guns and more secondaries, you think, hey, this ship can do more damage. And that is where you are wrong. So let's toss her into a game and show you what the difference between these 2 ships are. Alright, let's see what kind of game we have. Remember, we are in 9.6 matchmaking. And it's a tier 9 game. So we have an Audacious, quite a few battleships actually, a couple cruisers, a couple destroyers. So this is actually a pretty good matchmaking. And it's my favorite map. Bet. So let's take a look. What do we got? Helgoland, Alsace, Yama, Lion, Missouri, and Rostislav. So the cruisers, we can pretty much one-shot without an issue. The destroyers, we can ignore. Our secondaries are not good enough to actually handle those relatively easily. But if they can't get into range, then it's fine. The battleships is where we're going to focus, because we have 19-inch guns, which means broadsides are our best friend. And using this map, we're going to get all the broadsides we possibly can. Again, there is a carrier though, so that's an issue. Let's put some fighters in the air. Not like I really expect them to do much though. And let's just see what we can do. Yeah, I'm not really a fan of this ship. If it came down to it, I would say don't get it. Again, I'll give my reasons at the end of the video, as I always do for purchasable ships. But for right now, unless you really like the 19-inch guns, she's not really worth it. Okay, so we're going to try and send some shells towards Helgoland here. They look pretty small too, like they don't even seem that much bigger than the 16.5s that H42 has. 3 ricochets, 2 pens, nothing substantial. But we are coming up on some good and tasty broadsides over here, per the usual on this map. Minotaur, we can go right through your nose, not too worried about that. There is a lion broadside over there though. Just gonna, there she is. Let's see if we can send some shells in that direction. See if we can get some tasty broadside hits, and Missouri is giving us broadside as well. So we'll be obliged to send her some packages as well. You can see they're not really that amazing. I feel like I could have done better with H42 in that salvo. Let's try again. Alright, that was a little bit better, but still not necessarily great. Secondaries are just now opening up on this Minotaur. And I will actually be forced to shoot her with the main guns. I can't just ignore smaller ships and leave them to the secondaries like any other German battleship. We're going to focus secondaries on Minotaur. Well, I actually just realized that's an all of this. Okay, so we might be able to get some good citadel damage here, actually. Let's just send one turret until needed, and save the other 3 for this citadel instead. And we don't get a citadel. Cool. Alright. Well, let's see if we can get a citadel from this angle. A shatter and a pen. Alright. 19-inch guns doing their best. How about now? There we go. 3 citadels. Finally a sink. Or not a sink, but a citadel. I'd like to say my secondaries can finish her off, but I really don't think they can, so we're just going to use the front turret there. And I did see Helgoland. Yeah, she's over there. I might be able to get some citadels into her stern from here, assuming she runs aground. Let's just take a look. If she ran aground, let's see if we can show off her armor here. I'll send one over there, just in case she moves off the island. It's easier to citadel when you're closer in, so I might not be able to do it from here. But I will certainly try. Oh, also there's a carrier. So we're going to have to work on that too. But yeah, I've been able to easily citadel Helgoland at closer ranges, so in this case it looks like at farther ranges she's okay, or at least better protected. But it could also just be where I'm hitting her. And she's about to go down. Cool. Rostislav is trolling armor, so let's try for this Missouri. Yeah, there we go. 3 citadels. Secondaries on Audacious. Actually, you know what? We can split our secondaries on both sides. And we're going to deal with Audacious in a moment, but there's a tasty Yama Citadel that I am really wanting to taste. There we go. We're literally just going to start chasing Audacious. My secondaries aren't going to do anything to it besides set a fire. So I'm not really worried about that right now. I should be able to finish off Yama in this one, or this next shot, and then we can focus completely on Audacious. You would think, and any other battleship would be able to finish her off, but Helgoland disappoints. Right, so we're taking damage now, that's fine. Let's work on this Audacious here. There's more torpedoes incoming. Right, send some shells towards Audacious. 5 overpens and only 1 citadel. Even at that angle, which was actually a pretty good angle too. There's a lot worse angles for Audacious. If she just goes full stern onto me, it's pretty much nigh impossible to do a lot of damage to her at range. And the range is opening up. But, there we go. Finally a decent shot. Yama is still alive for some reason. So let's finish her off while we can. Any minute now, there we go. There goes Yama. Rostislav is still up, though she's pretty far away. Missouri and Alsace are pretty low HP. Lion is still up, but she's at such a bad angle to me that it's not probably even worth it. And Rostislav is getting us a bad angle as well. We might try... Well, let's try for Missouri. We only need a couple good hits. There we go. And then we have a somewhat decent angle on Alsace here. We may be able to get some good damage as well. And you know what? Let's try out the high explosive. I haven't actually used the high explosive before. Well, they're 19-inch guns. You shouldn't need high explosive. But we'll still try it out. Let's focus on the Lion, because I'm getting a better broadside on Alsace with every moment I move forward. The shell velocity on this ship is pretty good. I don't know if it's any worse or better than H42. That was actually pretty... Well, 5 pens for only 7,000 damage. That's actually not too good. It was a big chunk of damage, but considering the shells and how many hits I had, that wasn't really necessarily great. Let's try it on Alsace here. 2 fires. Actually, 1 on Alsace, 1 on Lion. But we didn't really do much damage. Let's see if we can get 1 more fire, and I'm going to switch back to armor piercing and see what I can do with that. And you know what? We're going to stop. We did destroy 3 secondaries and set another fire. That Alsace is gone right there, unless... No, it's aiming for the Lion. Unexpected. Well, Lion had a flooding, so that's why she immediately repaired. So did the Alsace, actually, so if we switch back to high explosive, we can burn them back. Though that was a pretty decent hit, actually, right there. Upper belt is definitely going to leave a mark. Considering we are going to have high explosive loaded in a moment, it's not worth switching shells, even though Lion's giving us broadside. So let's send a salvo of HE towards Alsace and switch to armor piercing for Lion. 3 fires on Alsace. There she goes. And for the first time, we are actually being shot at by something other than a carrier. Let's see who's faster, those torpedoes or my shells. I have a feeling it's going to be my shells. And finally, a citadel online. Alright, so that was actually one of the better games, but honestly, I'm still kind of mediocre about it. Secondaries are a main thing of German battleships, and to have a ship that doesn't have that kind of takes away from the experience. If I wanted a ship that had 19-inch guns, I would just go with Yamato refit, because you get 1 more of them. You actually have decent AA, and you have secondaries that can actually do damage, at least the 155s, because they shoot armor piercing. Still did 530,000 damage though. 7 ships were sunk, 150 shell hits, 21 aircraft shot down, 15 citadels, 9 fires, 1 module destroyed, 2 defended caps, and 395 shell hits, or secondary hits.
23,000 damage was an HE, 458,000 damage was an armor piercing, fires did 38,000, and secondary battery did less than 10,000 damage. Now, if you remember the fire and secondary damage from H42, that was up in like the 65,000 range, and our armor piercing shells did less. So you either go with Helgoland and you have the more damage in terms of your main guns, or you can do H42 and have a little bit less damage in main guns, but faster reload, and actually have secondaries that can do something. Honestly, my choice is still H42 because you get Hydro. I mean, without that, you're kind of blind when you're going into a smoke screen. It's definitely a buff. But my final review, your armor is not that good. Actually, let's take a look at the armor of H42 just so you can take a look at it. Yeah, belt of 400, max of 420. H41 has 360 and 400, so a little bit same armor, but it doesn't feel the same. It's just that turtleback is not really working for it when it's at this kind of angle. It's way too easy to citadel the ship when you're close range and shooting underneath the turrets, even back here. So it's got like the Yama weakness, or Missouri weakness, or pretty much any battleship that's not German weakness. Well, besides British battle cruisers, those are kind of trolly. But final result, weak armor, good guns, not really good secondaries. We didn't really get to show off the AA, but again, German battleships, since it's not really what you're known for. Speed, you're kind of slow. And yeah, no hydro, no nothing. Definitely, you're going to have some good games in it and get some good damage numbers, but you're not going to feel like it's a special ship. It's worse than the tech tree ships. Heck, I'd even take H39 over it because at least we get hydro, we get torpedoes, we get secondaries, we get rate of fire. So yeah, not really a fan of this ship. But if you like the 19-inch guns for Germany, this is currently the only ship you can equip them on. So with that, I will wrap up today's video. If you liked the video, make sure you like and subscribe for further content, and join me next time while we go over one of the 2 event ships that has just been released. Olympia, which is Newport News. I've renamed her Olympia because I already have a Newport News. And then after that, we'll be going over Majestic, the newest British carrier. So again, thank you for your time and take care.